Welcome back to the Civil 3D tutorial. Now we will see like understanding Civil 3D, so the user interface and what all the different things that we're going to see here. So everything we will study on this one. Alright, so once you guys open Civil 3D, let's go step by step to understand everything. So you may not have a drawing in place, so I'm just going to close this one. So you go to the start screen. So the start screen, if you see, there is a little hamburger icon, and from here you can actually start a new drawing, new or open. And then you also see the same buttons here. Okay, and then you see the recent files which will be displayed up here. You can throw it as a list view, you can change to a list view or to a grid view. And then when you actually hover over, you see little icons that comes up. You can pin those drawings, so that it'll say every time you open a new drawing, it's going to keep refreshing, and then the newest drawings will be on the top. But if you pin it, those drawings will not be cycled through, so those will be sticking to the screen. And then you can also choose based on the name. You can also search through it. And then on the right side, you can see who you logged in as, your logged in account. And then on the left side, you can see the standard menu where it actually takes you to the help and read about the product, some help tutorials and stuff like that. And then on the top left corner, so you'll see something called an application menu. So the application menu lets you to access the standard menu protocols, which is the new, open, and you can see the recent files and open the templates and all of these things. You can access it. All right, right next to it we have something called a quick access toolbar. The quick access toolbar lets you access tools irrespective of which screen or which tab that you're looking at. Let's say if you're, I'm just going to open one file. And then once I'm in the file, you can see that I'm actually going to be in one of these tabs while I'm working on it. I could be on the home tab, I could be on the annotation, I could be on modify. So I could be on any of these things. So now what happens is, what if I have this corridor button, which I wanted to access it irrespective of which tab I am in. So I can right click and then click on add to quick access toolbar. So now it goes to the quick access toolbar. So that means irrespective of which window I am in, I can see those tools. I can also right click and remove it. And there is a little drop down here. You can click on it. You can actually turn on and off things that's on the quick access toolbar. And then you can customize it. You can go to show more ribbon, and then you can customize the quick access toolbar. And then on the right side, you have the user that is logged in. You can see the license information and all of this information. And then since this is a trial, you can see there is a number 14, which shows like how many days that is left for this application to work. And there is a shopping cart, share button and all. And then right underneath, we have the typical ribbon interface. This is called a ribbon interface, where you can switch between different tabs. And each of those tabs will have panels. These are called panels. You can see they are all grouped together. And under the panels, you have this little drop down. You can click on it, and then you can expand it. And then there is drop down for the tools as well. So all the tools, wherever you see this little arrow, downward arrow, you can click on it, and you can see the additional tools that's available. Okay, so this is basically the ribbon interface, and you can actually access different set of tools based on the ribbon that you select. Now right underneath, you see a tab interface where you'll actually see the file that is open. You can open multiple files and you can access them parallelly. And only disadvantage of that is, like, if the files are huge, then it is going to slow your machines down. So if you're not going to use something, so it's best to actually close it off and work on the ones which is needed. So now right under that, we have something called the Toolspace. And this Toolspace is the most important thing that you need while working with Civil 3D, guys. And I tell you this because without the Toolspace, you also it lets you create objects. That's first thing, and also it lets you see things which are outdated, things which is having an issue, which is having a conflict, even the files which is missing, anything like that. This is the place that actually shows you what is happening within the model space of your drawing. So this is something that is very mandatory, and we will actually see throughout this tutorial how all the things that we will actually use in the tool space. And the tool space has like a drop down which shows a master view and an active drawing view. So the master view shows multiple files. If it has been open, you can actually see all the files that has been open, and you can actually move objects and move designs and styles and things like that between those drawings. And then active drawing view will show only what is inside the current drawing that you opened. And then the prospector is basically all the objects of your drawing. So that is all going to be here. The settings, which looks similar to your prospector, you can see the points, point groups, surfaces and things like that. That's the same thing that you will see here, is basically content of your template. So if you expand surface, styles, it shows you all the styles that you have under your surface. And then the survey tab, where you can actually see the survey database and anything that has been connected and all the data that has been configured. And then we have the toolbox. So the toolbox is mainly for reports. There is like a predefined reports that we have, and you can also create your own reports. Whatever the reports that we have here, you can take it, you can customize it, and you can make your own as well. And then you will have your view up here. Let's say if you select the point groups and things like that, you'll see what's inside that particular object. All the styles, you can see it up here. And this is sometimes called as a panorama view. And then the main space, this is your model space. So the model space is where you draw. Model space is where you work. And then you can switch between your model space to your paper space, which is your layout, what you're going to print. So everything comes from here. What is ever inside the margin is what it's going to be in your printer or your PDF. So the model space is for drawing, and the layout, which is the paper space, which is for printing. And then here on the top right corner, we have something called View Cube. And unlike other software such as Revit and other programs like 3ds Max, people generally use these view cubes to alter the view. They actually rotate and things like that. Within Civil 3D, you don't really have to do it, because most of those things we can see it and do it from the top view. You don't necessarily have to rotate anything to view it. If you want to rotate and see it, there is a separate view, and we call it as Object Viewer. So you basically select the object that's on the screen, and then when you select and right click, and you will see another button that comes up here, which is called Object Viewer. And so that you don't necessarily have to rotate onto the screen. And if you want to reset the view and rotate and things like that, you can use the view cube to rotate the object and do rotate the screen, and then view it in a special angle that you want. And then right underneath the view cube also gives you a little bit of options where you can customize these things, what you want to see, and also you can change the world coordinate systems. And then right under that, we have the Navbar. So the Navbar is like is the old school AutoCAD tools, which is still up there. So like the gizmos that you wanted to have if you want to. And then there is a pan tool, zoom extent and all that. We will be using keyboard shortcuts for that. But again, if you don't need it, you can close it. And just in case if you want it back again, you can type in Navbar, and then you get the Navbar again. So I'm just going to turn it on. It's going to be there. And then on the right side, we have some tools here. So this is by standard Civil 3D gives you. There is a whole bunch of other tools that you can add as well. But these ones are more for I would say surveyors. They use it for alignments and central alignment creations and points and reference points and all of those things. But again, so this is all some of the tools that you get within Civil 3D for you to play around with. And then we have the command line. So the command line is same as what you saw in what people used to see in AutoCAD. So there is an option to customize the command line. So we'll go all of these things in detail. And the command lines, you can see list of all the previous commands that you have typed, and you can type the current command, and you can see all the commands that you have typed before, and that's basically your command line. And here what you see is basically called a UCS, user coordinate system. So as you move the object, rotate and things like that, you will be able to customize these ones. And then underneath we have the status bar. In the status bar, we can see that you can switch between model to paper space. And then you can turn on the grid and the snap. So the snap function lets you snap between those grid points and things like that. And then you can turn on snap options as well, like ortho, polar and things like that, which lets you draw things in a specific way. And then annotative scales. And then workspace switching, you can switch between Civil 3D to 2D AutoCAD, 3D AutoCAD, and planning and analysis, and pretty much Map 3D. And then you have other options that you can switch between those settings as well, which we will all see in the future lessons. And then there is a hamburger icon which opens up a whole bunch of other things that you can turn on and off that will be visible in the status bar. So let's say if there is a transparency you wanted to have, you click on it and then you see transparency appear. All right, so that is basically overall user interface of Civil 3D. And we will catch up again in the next lesson, guys, and hope you guys enjoy the fundamentals tutorial, and we see you again. Thanks.